Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here to break down the 9-game NBA main slate here on Friday. A couple things before I get in the video. We're closing in on 1.7 thousand subscribers now. Thank you guys all so much for all support on YouTube, Twitter, the live streams. I really appreciate it. Two, if you're new to the channel, I'm doing a weekly giveaway where all you have to do is leave a like and a comment in the video. It's one entry in the giveaway. Max one comment though per video. It starts with my Monday Night Showdown video that I had up a few days ago. Goes throughout the week and ends in my Monday Night Showdown video at the end of the week. So however many videos I have uploaded for the week, you can enter the giveaway that many times. So say if I have 10 videos up for the week, you can enter the giveaway 10 times. The winner receives $20 PayPal from myself. And with that out of the way, let's jump into it. So first, let's look back to see how we're doing here on Thursday's 3-game slate. So this is my final lineup here: James Harden, Bembry, Giannis, Ersan, Montrez, Steph Curry, Marquise Chris, Pat Beverly. So, those value guys I talked about, on the Bucks with Ersan, he was huge at 2% owned. Him, Connaughton, George Hill were all pretty solid. Bembry, him and Jabari Parker, the two value guys like they're in Atlanta, they were both pretty good. The studs, Harden, a little off-game shooting, but still solid. Giannis was a lot lower owned than I thought he'd be. He got me 70 fantasy points. I'll take that all day. Andre Drummond was like 80% owned in tournaments. I was a little surprised. I didn't think he'd be that high owned. I went with the fade. I think it's going to pay off for me. Montrez here, 13.5 time. I got Steph Curry, Marquise Chris, Pat Beverly. Closing in on the money line in the tournament. So I think we should be, I think I should cash here if, these four, just play solid here the rest of the game. So yeah, let's see if we can keep it going here for Friday. Again, we got a 9-game main slate. So let's look at the over-unders and the spreads here for these games. So first game, Timberwolves Hornets sitting at 228.5 with Minnesota favored by 5. Toronto and Boston sitting at 216.5 with Boston favored by 3. The Knicks and the Nets at 225.5 with the Nets favored by 9. Bulls Grizzlies the pick 'em right now 223. Mavs Pelicans at 228 with the Pelicans favored by 2.5. Wizards OKC at 219 with OKC favored by 8. Portland and Sacramento at 225 with Portland at 2.5-point favorites. And then Jazz Lakers at 219 with the Lakers 4-point favorites. So we got some injuries here, which I'll talk about here in a sec, which is it's going to open up a lot of value in this slate. So let's start with center here. And Towns at the top. He was my favorite stud there on Wednesday's slate, and he crushed it with, over 70 fantasy points. Now he gets a matchup against Charlotte. Cody Zeller, PJ Washington, Biyombo. Towns should have his way. So yeah, I really like Towns again as a spend up. Anthony Davis, not necessarily the best matchup, but it's Anthony Davis. He's matchup proof. 10K is a very solid price tag. So yeah, don't mind Anthony Davis if you want to pivot off of Towns. Jokic here got in foul trouble. Played only like 1 or 2. I think he played 2 minutes and picked up 3 fouls in that the first half. But he still crushed it in limited time in 24 minutes. 20 points, 13 boards, 2 assists. Now he gets a matchup against Phoenix. No DeAndre Ayton. The big news: DeAndre Ayton is suspended 25 games. So yeah, Jokic 9.3K definitely looks pretty appealing as well. Gobert at 8.2, I think is okay. Don't know if necessarily if the upside's there. Now Randall at 8.1, really like this play once again. Again, the offense runs through him. They're playing big minutes. The Knicks starters are playing big minutes with Marcus Morris, Bobby Portis, Randall, R.J. Barrett. Those four are playing mid to high 30s minutes. So yeah, I really like Randall here at 8.1K. Siakam at 8.1, not necessarily the best match here against Boston, but Toronto ran an 8-man rotation that last game. If they're going to continue to do that, then yeah, you're going to want some, target some of these Toronto guys. So Siakam definitely appealing here at 8.1. Markkanen just had that huge game, right? 35 points, 17 boards, 2 assists, and a steal. I definitely think he's solid here at 8K, but I think he'll probably be popular because this is kind of the same situation as we saw with Drummond, right? Drummond on a back-to-back, a very foul-prone guy, was 80% owned, even in high dollar tournaments, in the $40 tournament I was in. So, yeah, I think people, they'll chase the good game. So I think that's why I think Markkanen will be a lot higher owned. Not saying that he's a bad play. I just, I think he'll be higher owned, and I'll probably pivot elsewhere, look elsewhere, like a guy like Randall in the same price range here. Porzingis at 7.6K in a great match against the Pelicans. Only played 29 minutes there in Washington. They said they're going to, kind of ease him back, low 30s minutes. So that is the slight concern with Porzingis. He's not going to play huge minutes. Obviously, no Ayton. We'll get to some value plays here in a sec. Whiteside, a guy, kind of been on all over for the preseason, and he just had a huge game there against Denver. 16 points, 19 boards, a couple blocks. The issue with him last year with Miami was you just never knew if he was going to get minutes, right? Him and Bam are always splitting the minutes. They never closed the Whiteside. Seemed pretty safe to get like 25 or so minutes here with Portland, and if he's going to continue to get that, then yeah, 7.2K is a pretty appealing price tag for a Whiteside. Steven Adams is 6.8K. Don't mind him. Bagley, no Bagley as well. Going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. Again, that's going to open up some value on the slate as well. Jonas Valanciunas playing limited minutes. Don't know if I want to go there. Jaren Jackson Jr., definitely viable, but again, know what you're getting into if you play with the guy. The ceiling's pretty high, but his floor is low. He is always in foul trouble. Stayed out of foul trouble the last game, but there's definitely a decent shot he can get in foul trouble again. PJ Washington had a really big game in his first game, 27 real-life points. If Cody Zeller has to miss time, then maybe he gets a little extra run here. So don't hate him here at 6.4K. Again, Cody Zeller listed as questionable. Jarrett Allen at 5.7. I like that he's power forward eligible. The price is coming up a bit on him, but he's still definitely in play. Let's see. Favors the Pelicans rotation. They ran a 12-man rotation. It was just very confusing. So it's kind of hard to trust some of these Pelicans guys. I don't know if Alvin Gentry is going to run a 12-man rotation every night, but that's definitely not very appealing for DFS purposes. Wendell Carter Jr., again, the matchup against Memphis, nothing to be scared about, really. The concern is, guys like Jonas Valanciunas and Jaren Jackson Jr. could potentially get him in foul trouble, but 5.7 is a pretty fair price. Don't mind Ibaka. Mitchell Robinson listed as questionable. They said that he thinks he's going to play. If he does, though, I think he's going to come off the bench. 5.5K for Robinson. Don't necessarily know if I want to pay that much for him. Bobby Portis might get eliminated a bit here with Mitchell Robinson back, but still 5.3K is a solid price tag. No Enes Kanter as well, so we'll talk about some Boston guys in a sec here. Let's see. Marc Gasol looked like a shell of his former self. Don't think I want to go there. The Lakers centers, both are kind of a letdown in that first game, McGee and Dwight, but we've seen it in the preseason, right? These guys can crush in like 15 and 20 minutes, so don't hate them at 5.2. Dwight at 4.2, don't hate him again. Deadman at 4.1 with no Bagley, maybe gets a little extra run. 4.1K is pretty appealing for him, but there's a lot of really solid cheap bigs here on the slate. So let's just we'll talk about Boston first. So Boston, no Kanter. It's probably going to be a combination here of Robert Williams and Daniel Tice, both definitely in play here at basically minimum price. I think, Tice would get a little extra run, but again, both these guys at basically min price are 100% in play against Toronto, who kind of runs big, right? They got Ibaka, Siakam, Gasol. So I think Robert Williams and Daniel Tice might be, asked to play like 15 to 20 minutes each, maybe. So they're definitely in play as value plays. Let's talk about Phoenix now. So Phoenix, no Ayton. It's probably going to be Aaron Baines picking up the start here, going up against Jokic at 3.2K. He's 100% in play. Same thing with Kaminsky at 3.3. I think both those guys kind of split the center minutes. Kaminsky was getting, some backup 4. He'll get some backup 5. So yeah, I really like Kaminsky. I really like Baines. I think both those guys are going to be asked to play some pretty big minutes against Denver. Again, they run kind of big with Jokic, Millsap, Mason Plumlee off the bench. They got Jeremy Grant. Cheek Diallo, don't necessarily know. He might crack the rotation, but I think he would probably be the odd man out if they're going to shorten the rotation. So I think Baines and Kaminsky would be the top targets here. And same thing you could look to Saric too at 4.7K. Didn't play huge minutes in that first game, but again, they're kind of thin up front now with no Ayton. So Saric, Kaminsky, and Aaron Baines are definitely in play here as value plays. And then finally, we'll talk about the Bagley injury, right? So it's going to be interesting to see who Sacramento starts. Is it going to be Bjelica at 3.6K? Probably would be my best guess as they start him. Now, he's a guy that, can knock down threes, right? He always seems to get you a couple steals or two. So if he picks up the start at 3.6K, yeah, I think he's a pretty solid value play. Rashawn Holmes, 2 at 3.4K, I think gets a little extra run as well. A little backup 4, maybe a little backup 5. Again, he's an energy guy. So I do like that price tag a good amount on him as well. No Harry Giles, we can't go there. Swanigan and Gabriel don't know if they'll crack the rotation. So Bielitsa and Rashawn Holmes also very appealing here. And Dedmon too. Like, they're going to be pretty thin up front. So I think all three of those guys will be asked to play some decent minutes. So yeah, there are a lot of really solid value plays, bigs on this slate. I think that probably the preferred way to go is get 2, maybe 3 of those value bigs in there in your lineup and then spend up elsewhere. The problem is if you go value bigs, then you're going to have to make a decision on one of these like centers. Like, there's a lot of good spend ups as well, like Cat, Anthony Davis, Jokic, Randall, right? So that's a decision you're going to have to make in your roster construction. Let's move on to power forward. We already talked about most of these guys, actually. Gallinari at 7.1K and a great match against Washington. The concern is Washington is probably going to be the worst team here in the NBA, so can they keep it close against OKC? OKC not necessarily the best team either, but yeah, Washington, besides like Beal and Bryant, they're kind of a mess. Brandon Ingram at 7.1K. I don't mind him. He played 35 minutes there in overtime. If he plays like 30 to 35 minutes, he's definitely viable here in a solid matchup. Jason Tatum, my concern is with Boston guys they're just a really balanced team. They always have been, and it's kind of a tough match against Toronto, so I think he's okay. Let's see, Miles Bridges at 5.9K. Don't mind that. Oubre with no Ayton. There's going to be some usage to go around here, so he had a pretty good game there in the first game, right? 21 points, 9 boards, 2 blocks, and an assist. Him and Devin Booker are definitely going to have to pick it up offensively here. So, yeah, that's a pretty appealing price tag there at 5.7K. No, not necessarily the best match here against Denver, but with no Aiden, that's a lot of usage to go around. Favors, it's just we don't know what the minutes going to be like, right, with Alvin Gentry. It's a risk if you play him. Let's see. Now, Marcus Morris at 5.2K, this price is not coming up enough on him. He's playing huge minutes, probably going to play 35 plus in a close game, 5.2K. In a pretty solid matchup, right? This is a pretty high over-under. I like this price a good amount here on Marcus Morris. So, yeah, he's one of my favorite small forward plays here. Let's see. Harrison Barnes, him and Ariza are okay, right? We'll probably get maybe a little extra run. They can run a little bit of 4 too. The problem is with these guys is just they're kind of staying in the corner, shoot threes. They're not super, super high usage guys, but they're not out of play. Jay Crowder, 4.8, don't hate it. Ingles off the bench at 4.6K is always in play. OGs, Toronto, they run a really thin rotation, 4.3K. Still a pretty cheap price tag for him. He's not a super high usage guy, but if he's going to continue to play at close to 30 minutes, don't mind him at all there. Again, guys like Ariza, guys like Harrison Barnes, they're definitely in play. They'll probably get a little extra run here with no Bagley. Let's see. Melly had a pretty solid game there in the first game, right? 14 points, 5 boards, 2 assists. The issue is they got Favors, they got Jahlil Okafor, they ran a 12-man rotation, so I think I'm going to prefer those other value guys, right? Those like Phoenix value guys, maybe the Boston value guys, or the Sacramento value bigs. So I think that's basically it. Let's move on to small forward. Small forward at the top is LeBron. Kind of had an off game there in the first game against the Clippers. Only 18 points, 9 boards, 8 assists. Was close to a triple-double, but turned the ball over a decent amount. Matchup here against the Jazz. Again, not necessarily the best, but 9.5K for LeBron. He's definitely in play. Let's see, Buddy Hield. So this is another situation we'll have to monitor. He is currently listed as questionable with an ankle injury. If he misses, we could look to a guy like Bogdan Bogdanovic, who was also questionable, but he was a huge letdown. Let me down big time there Wednesday, because I was really high on him. But yeah, if Buddy Hield misses, you could definitely look to Bogdan again. You had to have a short-term memory here in DFS. Kind of like Jaren Jackson Jr., if you guys watched me in preseason a few weeks ago. I was all over him one night, and then he busted, got in foul trouble. The next night, went right back to it, and he crushed. So again, you have to have short-term memory here for DFS. LeVert, kind of the number 2 guy there in Brooklyn at 6.5K in a solid matchup. I think he's definitely playing the mid-range. Wiggins, 2 scoring independent for my liking. You guys know that by now if you watch my videos. Bridges and Bacon, again, Charlotte ran that game at Charlotte-Chicago was a really high-scoring game. They played at a fast pace. So Bridges and Bacon in the mid-tier, kind kind of like those guys. Torian Prince played some solid minutes at 5.6K. There are some pretty appealing guys here in this 5 to 6K range for small forward. Will Barton got the start, played some big minutes. Now he gets a match against Phoenix. Yeah, kind of like the price tag on Will Barton as well. Again, there's a lot of small forward, like 5 to 6K range. There's a lot of guys I do like. Again, let's see. Sarge, again, I like that he's small forward eligible. We know he's not really a small forward, but probably going to be asked to play some more minutes there with no Ayton. So you could plug him in at small forward and then get 4 more bigs in your lineup if you wanted to. So I do like that he's small forward eligible. I think that's a mistake on Draftkings' part. He's definitely not a small forward, but you can take advantage of that for sure. Now Bogdan, again, he's not listed as questionable. Like, he doesn't have the questionable tag at Draftkings, but if you read the description, it said he's questionable for right, it's 10/24. Yeah, questionable for Friday's game against the Lakers. Wait, they don't play the Lakers though. So that's okay. Wait, am I losing my mind? They don't play the Lakers. The Jazz play the Lakers. So that's just a misprint on DraftKings' part. Okay, so if he's good to go and Buddy Hield misses, then yes, I would like Bogdan a lot. Again, short-term memory. We know we've seen the huge upside in this guy last year. He has it in him. So yeah, I would definitely go to him if Buddy Hield misses. Danny Green had a big game last time out, but again, a very scoring dependent. He wasn't nailing his threes, but if he's not knocking on shots, it can hurt you. So I think I'll let others chase that big game. I think I'll pass. I think that's kind of it for small forward. Yeah. So let's move on to shooting guard. Shooting guard Doncic at the top in a great match against the Pelicans. You guys have been watching videos in the preseason, regular season now. You guys know I want to target players against the Pelicans to play at such a fast pace. Doncic, going to play huge minutes. Just scored over 30 against the Wizards. So yeah, I like him as a spend up a good amount. Brad Beal, same thing. A little tougher matchup, but I just got ejected in that last game. Kind of BS call too, in my opinion. So maybe he comes out angry at 8.6K. Again, he's kind of like the only guy there in Washington's offense. So I do like him. Same thing with Drew. Had an off game in the first game, but played big minutes in a solid matchup. Wouldn't mind going there at 8.5. Devin Booker going to have to pick it up, right? With no Ayton. We know the upside's pretty high in this guy too if he's knocking down shots. So him, Oubre, definitely get a boost, as well as those value bigs. Donovan Mitchell in a good matchup against the Lakers. Yes, sir. I think he's a pretty solid play. Levine, again, I'm not scared of Memphis. It's a different team that played at a fast pace. Kind of had an off game. 16 points, 7 assists, 6 boards, only 7 to 17. But we know, if he's knocking down those threes, he can definitely get you 40, 50 fantasy points. So he's in play here. SGA at 6.5 played big minutes in a good matchup here against Washington. Another guy that's definitely in play in the mid-range, Jamal Murray. I just don't think the price is coming up on him enough. It's a really solid matchup. It's kind of him and Jokic, the 1-2 in Denver. So I do like that price tag. CJ, same thing at 6.2K. I'm never a huge CJ McCollum fan, or for DFS at least, but the price tag just makes him in play here. Let's see, RJ Barrett, a guy that is going to play big minutes, 35 plus minutes in a solid matchup. He's in play. Van Fleet just had a huge game in that first game. Now he gets a little tougher matchup, but if they're going to continue to run an 8-man rotation, then Fred Van Fleet's a really solid play here at 5.7. Let's see, Schroeder came off the bench. I was interested if they were going to run that 3-guard lineup or not, but he did come off the bench at 4.8K. Yeah, he's okay. The matchup's good. We know he's going to shoot the ball a ton. Let's see, Gary Harris, a little too scoring dependent for my liking. Kobe White played some solid minutes in that game, 27 minutes. So, Chicago runs, they have 3-point guards with Sandro Anthony, Kobe White, and Chris Dunn. So that is the concern, right? There's not a whole lot of minutes to go around, but he played 27. If he gets that again at 4.5K, yeah, I think he's a pretty solid value play. Other cheap options, I think that's kind of it. Oh, Alexander Walker here. So this, I don't think you can do it for cash games, but in that first game against the Raptors, he played 12 minutes, shot 1 of 10, and still got 15 fantasy points. So imagine if he's knocking down a couple more shots. Now, the concern is they ran a 12-man rotation, didn't necessarily play the best that first game, so maybe, I think there's maybe like a 25% chance that he doesn't even play in this game. But if he gets 15, maybe even 20 minutes, yeah, he could crush. So I don't necessarily think I can do that for cash games, but for GPPs, love the upside in that guy. Let's move on to point guard. Let's see. Kyrie just had that huge game against Minnesota, 50 points, almost a triple-double of 50 points. It's an absolute massive game. Now he gets a great matchup here against the Knicks, so he's going to be a really solid spend up again. I think he's going to be really popular because he had that big game, but 100% in play here. Lillard in a good matchup against the Kings at 8.8. Don't mind him. De'Aaron Fox let a lot of people. The Kings were kind of frustrating there Wednesday. A lot of people were on a decent amount of those Kings, and basically all of them busted besides Bagley, but we know Bagley's going to be out for a bit now. If Buddy Hield misses, and maybe if Bogdan misses too, like there's a lot of usage ground. No Bagley too. So De'Aaron Fox, I'm not scared of Lillard or CJ's defense. And if all those guys are out for Sacramento, there is just a whole lot of usage around. And we know the upside's pretty high in De'Aaron Fox. I know he's a lot down that last game, but you have to have short-term memory here for DFS. Let's see. Other options. Don't mind CP3 at 7.2. Okay, not going to play huge minutes, but it is a good match against Washington. Rozier was kind of a lot down, right? Did not shoot the ball well in 2 of 10. But still played 30 minutes. Devontae Graham had a really good game. They closed it with him. Let's see. John Morant. Memphis rotation is just kind of frustrating. No one played huge minutes. I think the most minutes played were 30 for Jaren Jackson Jr. and Jay Crowder. Morant only played 25. I want him to play like mid-30s minutes, and then I would love the price tag on him. But if he's only going to play 25 minutes, I think I'm going to look elsewhere for now. Lonzo Ball. So this is where I'm struggling, right? He did not close. They closed with Frank Jackson. They ran a 12-man rotation. But, man, this is a good match against Dallas, and 6K, the price tag is really appealing. I'm torn. I might take the shot on Lonzo here. Hopefully Alvin Gentry doesn't screw me again, because I think if Lonzo gets over 30 minutes, he can crush this salary. So I'm a little torn again. The risk is the Pelicans ran a 12-man rotation. We don't know what Alvin Gentry is going to do, but man, I love the matchup, and I love the price here for Lonzo. Again, I already talked about Van Fleet, though. Toronto's rotation, 8-man rotation, and Van Fleet looked really good that last game. Rubio had a pretty solid game, for his first game with Phoenix, 5.6K again, a guy that doesn't necessarily have to score to get you there. So I think he fits in pretty well with this Phoenix offense as well. Not the guy that's going to score the ball a ton, but it's going to dish out a bunch of assists to guys like Booker, Kelly Oubre. So yeah, I think he's solid in the mid-range. Rondo at 4.9K, list is questionable. If he's good to go, and if he's not going to be limited, I like this price tag a decent amount on him. I know the matchup not necessarily the best against Utah, but another guy that, again, doesn't necessarily have to score to get you there. Other options, DeLon Wright is okay. Like those secondary Dallas pieces are just, they kind of run a deep rotation besides Doncic and Porzingis, so I think he's okay. Satoransky, again, they got Dunn. They got Kobe White behind them, so I don't think the minutes are necessary to secure for him. Alfred Payton, what's his name? Fizdale said that there's a decent chance that he starts. They started a no point guard lineup that first game, but if Alfred Payton starts, you can consider him. But just beware. Like, this is David Fizdale. We saw last year, like, if a guy starts, he's not necessarily going to play big minutes. Like, so just be warned, like, Alfred Payton could start and play like 10 minutes. They got Dennis Smith Jr., they got Nicotina. They could run a no point guard lineup like they started in that last game. So that's a concern. But if Alfred Payton plays, if I knew Alfred Payton was going to play 25 to 30 minutes, I would really like him at this price tag. But it's just the unknown of David Fizdale on this point guard rotation right now. Devontae Graham, again, he had a big game that last time out. Don't necessarily know if I want to chase it, though. Let's see. And I think that's kind of it. Chris Dunn, how many minutes did he play? He played 24 minutes off the bench? Okay. I didn't know he played that many minutes. If him and Kobe White are gonna continue to play those type of minutes, he had 11 points, 4 steals, 2 boards, 2 assists. Yeah, at 3.4K, I do kind of like this price at as a cheap guard play. So Dunn definitely in play here, and I think that's kind of it. So again, my roster construction build as of right now, this is Thursday night. A lot can change, so it's very important to follow me on Twitter, guys. That will be in the description below. I will give my thoughts as we get more news, injury news throughout the day. I will unfortunately again not be able to live stream tomorrow, but I should be back on track Sunday and going into next week. But as of right now, my roster construction is I want to target those value bigs, those Boston with a Canner injury, right? I want to target Sacramento with no Bagley, right? Those value bigs, and then same thing with Phoenix with no Ayton. There's a lot of minutes and usage to go around on those teams, so I think you can get your value there, or go for a guy like Chris Dunn at 3.4K. Don't mind that at all. And then spend up guys. There's some good options, right? Towns, Doncic, Jokic, LeBron and AD, Kyrie. So that's kind of my approach as of right now. I'm leaning towards the stars and scrubs approach for Friday. So I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you have been enjoying the content, would really appreciate if you would like this video and subscribe. Again, if you want to get entered in the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a like and a comment in the video. That's one entry in the giveaway. I'll be back for another video for NBA. I think we got a decent size slate on Saturday. And I'll have my video up for the NFL Week 8 final look, probably up tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, thanks again for coming to check out the video, guys, and I will see you later.